Hello everyone. In continuation with our topic of energy in the environment, geothermal energy is the energy which is obtained from the earth, and it can be of various forms. Geothermal energy basically is to harness this heat, deep drilling needs to be done, which is practically not feasible. However, in certain areas which are in the vicinity of volcanoes, some part of the earth's heat can be utilized in the form of geothermal hotspots. Hotspots are places where the mantle is thin and excess heat from the earth's interior is transmitted to the crust. Now, this is a picture which is showing geysers and hot springs, which probably we have already seen in our previous lecture. And basically the difference between geysers and hot springs, that naturally occurring steam jets are called geysers, and hot springs are some natural sources of thermal energy. And geothermal plants are usually located near these geysers and hot springs because it is difficult and economically not feasible to transport the heat over long distances. And geysers contribute to only a small amount of geothermal energy, whereas majority of this energy can be obtained from two different rocks, which are aquifers and hot dry rocks. And aquifers is a layer of a porous rock which is trapped between the layers of impermeable rocks. Aquifers can either be close to the surface of the earth or at depths of 2 to 3 kilometers below the earth's surface, and such kind of rocks contain hot water. And the process of obtaining hot water from aquifers involves the introduction of cold water at a suitable point through a borehole. The cold water absorbs heat from the aquifer and is ejected with great force out of the earth's surface through another borehole dug in the ground nearby. The hot water so obtained can be used for heating purposes, whereas the hot dry rocks are generally magma rocks which are found below the earth's surface, and it is actually hardened magma which is still extremely hot. It is obtained from the volcano, and water is circulated through these hot dry rocks to produce steam, which is further used to rotate turbines and further used to produce electricity. The magma, which is partly in the molten state, can be used to boil water. Now, the areas in India where geothermal energy is utilized are northwestern Himalayas and the western coast, which have been located with the help of satellites. This is a picture which is showing hardened and molten magma, which is full of energy and heat, and therefore can be used, the water is circulated around it and can be used for the production of electricity. Now, although geothermal energy is very important for the production of electricity, it has certain impact on the environment, causing noise pollution on the site and emission of a large number of gases, some of which may be toxic. Moreover, the drilling of bore wells disturbs the ecosystem and releases a lot of H2S gas. H2S gas, or hydrogen sulfide gas, is a highly toxic gas. Hot wastewaters cause thermal pollution affecting marine life, and the water from aquifers may contain toxic heavy metals including cadmium, lead or mercury. The simultaneous production of two types of energy from one fuel is called cogeneration of energy. In a conventional thermal power plant, heat is generated by the burning of fossil fuels. This steam generated is used to turn the turbines and consequently generate electricity. The efficiency of the conventional thermal power plants is 35% and a large amount of heat is thus wasted. However, in cogeneration plants, the steam coming out of turbines is not condensed to water, but instead it is used for heating purposes in houses and factories. That means cogeneration plants help in production of electricity as well as the waste water, or so to say the hot water after the production of electricity is further used for heating purposes. That means a kind of a dual advantage. This purpose of cogeneration results in more efficiency. This is a cost-effective process for the power plant. As a result of decrease in fuel consumption, the pollution also decreases. In India, biogas-based cogeneration is being promoted. Next, we come on to the discussion of greenhouse gases. Now, this is a picture which is depicting how greenhouse gases are affecting the Earth's atmosphere. The living beings on Earth are protected from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun by a protective layer of ozone gas in the atmosphere, to be precise in the stratosphere, at a height of 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The ozone layer, which is the densest at a height of 20 to 23 kilometer range above the Earth's surface, is formed by free oxygen atoms. Oxygen present in the stratosphere forms free radicals in the presence of ultraviolet radiations from the sun. These free radicals are also called reactive oxygen species. The reaction which takes place in this production is as follows. Oxygen of the atmosphere reacts with ultraviolet rays from the sun to produce oxygen free radical. This oxygen free radical combines with more of oxygen in the atmosphere to produce ozone. Carbon dioxide is produced by the combustion of fossil fuels and also from living beings, that is during respiration and transpiration. This carbon dioxide forms a blanket in the troposphere. The ozone layer does not allow ultraviolet rays to reach the surface of the Earth, but infrared rays and visible light passes through the carbon dioxide layer and reaches the Earth's surface. Due to this, the Earth gets heated up and starts emitting heat back into the atmosphere in the form of infrared radiations. These are now trapped by carbon dioxide in the troposphere. Thus, since carbon dioxide prevents the trapped infrared radiations to go back to space, the trapped infrared radiations thus cause the heating up of the Earth's atmosphere. This phenomena is called greenhouse effect. It results in the increase in the temperature of the earth and subsequently water bodies, resulting in adverse environmental impacts. This whole effect results in global warming. Global warming is the average increase in the temperature of the earth, resulting in the increase in temperature of the water bodies also, therefore affecting the marine organisms as well as the organisms or the living life on the earth's surface. This is a diagram which is showing the greenhouse effect and how do greenhouse gases, the sun's rays are able to reach the earth's atmosphere, and how do greenhouse gases do not allow the infrared radiations to go back into the outer space, and hence the infrared radiations are trapped within the layer, causing the overall heating, because infrared radiations have a heating effect. So, the overall increase in the average temperature of the earth. Apart from carbon dioxide, there are a number of other gases which are responsible for the greenhouse effect, and they hence contribute to global warming. These gases are methane, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrous oxide and water vapor. Global warming tends to alter the earth's ecological balance. Human activities are also responsible for the release of large amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which result in global warming. Glacier melting and thereby leading to flooding of low-lying areas. Now, discussing about the Kyoto Protocol, due to the effects of increase in greenhouse gases, the Kyoto Protocol, which was accepted on 16 February 2005, was introduced by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to make compulsions in the industrialized nations to reduce their greenhouse gas emission. It is an international environmental treaty which aims to prevent anthropogenic activity which tends to interfere with the climate. When we talk about green energy, there are three types of green energy. Number one being solar and wind energy, hydro and geothermal energy, biomass and biofuels, the energy obtained from biomass and biofuels. These all types are types of green energy which cause minimum amount of pollution. Coming to the discussion of biomass energy, an important source of renewable energy is biomass. It is widely available from plant and animal waste and the waste generated from human activities. It is the fourth largest source of energy, the three other being coal, oil and natural gas. But coal, oil and natural gas are considered in the category of non-renewable energy sources, or as we say, conventional energy sources. The major sources of biomass are the byproducts of timber industry, agricultural crops, raw materials from forests, and a major contributor, one of the major contributors is domestic waste. A diagram which is showing the production of a biofuel from biomass. As the sun's rays which produce biomass, ultimately through a process biofuels are produced, which we will be just discussing. There are various advantages of biomass which is used as a source of energy. Biomass can replace conventional sources of energy, conventional meaning non-renewable sources of energy in power production because of the following advantages. It does not increase the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. All other non-renewable sources of energy, they are responsible for a production of maximum amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. For example, the burning of fossil fuels, like coal, petroleum, etc., produce a lot of amount of carbon dioxide apart from other toxic gases. However, the burning of biomass does not increase the concentration of carbon dioxide. It also does not require any modification of the power plant. In India, biomass fuels such as wood, cow dung cakes, crop residues and sawdust are used by 90% of rural households. Biomass also has certain disadvantages in the case that the incomplete combustion of biomass fuels in chulhas which were used generally in rural areas till now, is known to cause indoor pollution due to the release of gases like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Although the concentration of carbon dioxide is comparatively less, now these gases are hazardous for health. Carbon monoxide, as we know, has a capability of exchanging oxygen in hemoglobin, so it can cause respiratory problems. The excessive use of wood as biofuels leads to deforestation and desertification, ultimately leading to soil erosion, increase in floods and drought, change in the landscape, wind direction, temperature and humidity. So, because of the particular disadvantages, biomass use is also somewhat restricted. When we consider the conversion of biomass to biogas, first of all we need to know the sources of biomass. Again, sources of biomass include cattle dung, wood, straw and water weeds, sugarcane pulp. Biomass can be used to produce biogas, which is a clean fuel. Large biogas plants involve the mixing of wastes, which is generally cattle dung, with water, forming a slurry. The decomposition of waste in the absence of air is then carried out. That is, decomposition of the waste in anaerobic conditions is thus carried out. This biogas so produced is used to generate steam, which in turn is used to run turbines to generate electricity. Another source of biogas is waste discharged from tanneries by the method of biomethylation. The organic waste is mixed with sludge and then minced. Minced means broken up into very smaller pieces, or almost a slurry is created. Then it is transferred into a biodigester. In the biodigester, wherein anaerobic soil bacteria break down the waste, which produces biogas. This is a picture of a biogas plant in which the slurry is introduced, and by the action of the anaerobic bacteria, biogas is produced. The production of biogas takes 15 days to complete. The solid waste which is formed as a byproduct is rich in nutrients and thus is used as manure. That means after the production of biogas, the waste which is left is still of use. Sugarcane is also a good source of biomass. The solid obtained after squeezing all the juice out of sugarcane is called bagasse. This is rich in fiber content. It is used to generate steam in boilers to produce electricity. This is a dry bagasse, which is the leftover of sugarcane once all the juice is drained out of it. Plants behave as a storehouse of energy. Carbohydrates are produced as a result of photosynthesis. Green plants undergo photosynthesis by absorbing carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. It is the main source of energy for plants. The reaction below is depicting what happens in photosynthesis. That is, in presence of carbon dioxide and water, glucose breaks down, taking up energy from the sunlight, producing energy and oxygen. Plant sugar is glucose, which exists in two forms, alpha glucose and beta glucose. In plants, energy is stored in the form of sugars. When plants ripen, the carbohydrates get converted into oils or lipids, which are a compact form of energy storage. In plants, glucose gets converted into cellulose by the linking of two beta glucose units. Further, the condensation of the glucose units results in the formation of starch. These are biopolymers which store energy for the plant and also provide the plant its sturdy nature. Now, this is a structure of cellulose which is being shown as on the screen. Now, electricity is generated using biomass. That is, biomass can be converted into biogas, which can be used to further produce electricity. Biomass in the form of small bricks can be used instead of coal to produce electricity. An energy crop, which is a good source of biomass, is a low maintenance and a low cost crop. For example, Opuntia ficus indica and Euphorbia pterucalli. They can be grown in semi-arid lands since they have low water requirements. This is a picture of these two plants which we have just mentioned, Opuntia and Euphorbia. The one on the left hand side is Opuntia and the one on the right hand side is Euphorbia, and these plants are also a good source of energy. Electricity can be generated from municipal solid waste also. The waste is processed before it can be used to produce electricity. Biofuels can also be generated or obtained from biomass. Now, what are biofuels? They are gaseous fuels which are obtained from biomass by the gasification process. Anaerobic digestion is carried out by burning the biomass in a limited supply of air. This gasification of biomass has commercial uses in the production of producer gas, which is a mixture of gases like carbon monoxide, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, methane and nitrogen. So, producer gas is obtained by burning biomass in a reduced supply of air at 800 degrees centigrade. So, discussing more about producer gas and other types of biofuels from biomass in our next lecture.